Thank you for joining us. I'm Carol Jenkins. The program is Black America, and our topic today is the extreme importance of documenting our existence in photography. And here to share her insights, Dr. Deborah Willis, who could be said to have single-handedly rescued much of visual Black history, what we know of ourselves in pictures. Author of some 30 books, or it could be 40, she doesn't count on photography. She has shaped the collections in the Schomburg, the Smithsonian, and curated at virtually every leading museum in this country. She's got a CV that runs 20 pages, is a MacArthur Genius Award winner. Her day job is chair of New York University's Department of Photography and Imaging. And thank you so much for being with us, Deb.
Happy to be here.
I had to laugh as I was scrolling through your CV, and I said, oh, let me guess, how many pages is this? This many books. You said you never count, so you don't know, but I counted up what I could find, and it was at least 30. It could be more than that. And certainly in terms of everything you've written and curated, it's more than that. And it's an astonishing contribution to America, and I want to thank you, to the world. I want to thank you for what you've done. Talk to us a little bit about your childhood. We always ask our guests to place themselves in Black America. Where did you grow up, and what were your influences?
I grew up in North Philly in the 50s and 60s and had a great time as a kid. My mother had a beauty shop and a grocery store, and my father was a cop and also ran the grocery store in between. So we spent a lot of time, of course, in church, working. So I grew up working. I grew up as a kid working in the stores as well. But most of the time when I was a small kid, I used to sit in the beauty shop with my mom and listen to the women in the beauty shop about their stories at work. And I grew up in a storytelling environment. And my father was interested in photography. His cousin had a studio in around the corner from us.
Lucky you, and lucky for the rest of us,
yeah,
right?
So he often photographed, and so we used to often put the photographs in the local drugstore, and I'd place the images in the family album, and so I think that was my beginning.
And what were you shooting with then? Remember such a thing as the Brownie?
Brownie. My father had a Rolleiflex, but I had a Brownie when I was a kid.
Right.
So that was the most important part of our lives, was documenting every event, because we were from a large family. I have 2 sisters, but my mother had 13 brothers and sisters, and my father had 12 brothers and sisters.
Right. I come from a similarly large family, so the number of cousins is extraordinary.
50 first cousins.
50, yeah. You have me beat, actually. It's the 12 on the other side, that do that. Right. So as a child, then you were exposed to photography. And then I was telling you that were it not for your being discriminated against, you could have been part of the unwashed press corps, because that's really what you wanted to do with all of this, to be a journalist, tell stories, and you couldn't get a job.
Yeah, when I graduated from Philadelphia College of Art, which is now the University of Arts in Philadelphia, I took my portfolio to the to the Time and all of the news journals, and they said, oh, come back in 3 months, and no, this is not working for us. This is not the type of photography that I'm interested in. But the core happened when I was in undergraduate school, when my professor told me I was taking up a good man's space.
Ah, right.
So that
many of us were told that, right?
The core for me that silenced me, but also I was determined to keep going.
But you did get it's a silencing kind of thing when somebody says, you're not good enough simply because you're a woman, as opposed to your talent. They weren't even looking at your portfolio at that point. But at any rate, what I love is that the kernel of your great career came from something that you started in college.
Yes. My first major project was had a professor. Our term paper was, I said, where are the Black photographers in our history books?
What a question.
Right? And she said, good point. Why not do a research paper? And that was the beginning. And I was 1972. I was an artist, not a historian in terms of training, in terms of researching. So I had unorthodox ways of researching. I went to the Black press because I grew up reading newspapers because of my beauty shop experience. So I looked for black photographers in the beauty shops, in the black press rather, and so that's how I began documenting. My first response, I wrote letters to Gordon Parks, Moneta Sleet,
Oh,
and Roy
Moneta.
DeCarava.
I have a Moneta Sleep.
Oh, fantastic!
1953, West Virginia.
West
street
Virginia,
scene.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So,
And so that they responded,
right.
sure, come visit me, and so that was my initial paper, and then moving on, like I see Morgan and Marvin Smith's photographs.
I love
So-
them. Yeah,
so-
they used to work in television, after their great photographic career. They were twins,
Yeah.
just so if you don't know.
So
you
they
should
were my
look them up,
mentors,
Morgan
yeah.
and Marvin Smith, right? So that's extraordinary. So that you took that one term paper where you asked the question, where are the black photographers, and created an entire career. You just came back from Florence, where there's this international conference on photography in the black community,
Right.
and what that means.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about.
Well, in May, I organized a conference with colleagues at NYU, and it was called Black Portraitures, looking at the black body in the West. And then, as a result of, it was on NYU's Florence campus, and as a result of that conference, I had a very close relationship with the director there, Ellen Toscano, and the students decided that they wanted to organize a conference there on race, racism, and xenophobia. And so they invited, Ellen invited me back to help organize a conference to talk about difference. And it was really an amazing experience because it was the voice of the students, the voices of the students, and they wanted to talk about social movements. And I presented a paper on social movements from the 60s based on the activities of students and student activism from the 60s to today.
Right. So propel the civil rights movement, and today propelling the Black Lives movement as well. So all of these are fabulous, fabulous pictures. Now you started working with the National Museum of African American Culture and History. Back when?
Well, it started as the National African American Museum Project.
Right.
And I worked with Claudine K. Brown, and we worked together developing a collection. There were there were doubters that believed that there was impossible to have a black collection that could actually fit into a Smithsonian museum. So we traveled around the country looking for ways to tell the stories, looking to show that there were collections. And that started in 1990. I left the Schomburg, it kind of overlapped, with that period in the 90s. I left the Schomburg. I started the Schomburg in 1980.
Right.
I worked there for almost 12 years.
And built that collection.
Well, I cataloged the collection. I tried to build the contemporary part of it.
Right.
I located every photographer that was in their 70s and 80s, knowing that their collections were in peril, and just to make sure that their photographs were
preserving the history.
Yes, and it was my passion and my interest in doing that.
Right. Well, you've selected some photographs for us to take a look at, because this Grand on the Mall, huge African American museum is about to open in September. We're almost there after all of that time, and you've been serving on the scholarly advisory council all of that time, helping to build this thing. It's a reality.
Yes, it's really exciting.
So let's take a look at some of the photographs and see what you can tell us about.
This is Robert Hagen's photograph of Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X walking down 125th Street in Harlem, and it's just a moment of mentorship, community pride, and this is after the championship fight, so you can see this aspect of community.
Right, that was before he was Cassius Clay at that point and became Muhammad Ali. Oh, and this gorgeous man, right?
Langston Hughes. This is a photograph by James Latimer Allen. He was one of the early photographers I found who was working in the 1920s. He viewed himself as an artist. He photographed a number of the writers and actors
in the Harlem Renaissance.
During the Harlem Renaissance period.
Right. Terrific. And next is
Eric Dolphy, and this is Chuck Stewart's photograph. Chuck Stewart is a photographer, jazz photographer, lives in New Jersey. active, and he's a joy to watch and to look at his photographs, because he understood documenting music, but also understood the relationship that musicians and artists had with their
instruments. Look at
And you
that,
can
right?
see the way that is draped around his neck.
Right, really powerful. Some of these photographs go back, the mid 18th. What's the earliest black photographer that you?
Right, 1840.
Uh-huh.
Jules Leon was the first that I located, and he lived in New Orleans, and he's brought basically the photography studios to New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Addison Scurlock. This is a photograph of Addison Scurlock with his son Robert on Howard University's campus, photographing a class, sometime, not sure the period, but it's, definitely early in the 30s. And it's just a wonderful moment to see a photographer at work. Also the style of dress and how...
Right, and he was amazing. His sons also became photographers.
George
and had a school, and Jackie Kennedy was one of his students.
Right.
And the other thing that the Addison Scurlock did was newsreels and documenting Black history. We'd go to the movie theater, I suppose, and you would see these newsreels. Just so much terrific history.
Yeah, that's great. Did you grow up in D.C.?
I did not. I did not.
A lot of people told me the story.
Right. And look at
this is Robert McNeil. This is the Bronx Slave Market, and this is Robert McNeil. This was published in Fortune magazine. I know MoMA just purchased his collection.
Oh.
And Library of Congress.
Right.
And this is two women and a man waiting for work, waiting at Westchester, the point where women from Westchester would hire day workers, and so he. Photographed. He created a series of images of these.
Yeah, one of the things that you say throughout your work in the magnificent essays that you write about these photographs is that you're going against this concept of what Black life was, and if we rely on others taking pictures of us, the concept is not exactly what we might. We might agree with, and so that's why it's so important. Here's
looking at the women in the Bronx slave market. Their style of dress. There could be hand-me-down coats, but the way that they're wearing their hats and dress and style. And this is A.O. Scott. This is Griff Davis's photograph. This is one of the first Black publishers in Atlanta. So I think just the ways of looking and how he uses photography and framing.
Right. Now, there are some rock stars in addition to you. There are some other rock stars in photography: James Van Der Zee, Gordon Parks, Lorna Simpson. Who else would you put up there in that stellar?
Carrie Mae Weems.
Carrie Mae, right? Her work. I always think of her as more of an artist than I do photographer, but
she creates. And Jeannie Matusameh Ash.
Jeannie, who is of course a friend of ours and used to work at NBC with us, and. I actually was with her the day that she said, I'm going out to meet Arthur Ashe.
Oh, you were? Oh, that's fascinating.
And she says, I think I'm going to marry him. And we're like, oh, please. And of course, she was so gorgeous. She went out and married Arthur Ashe, but has done a tremendous amount of work in terms of...
In Daufuskie Island in South Carolina. She has an amazing book that she shares moments of a community that's lost in history, but, in South Carolina. But she's an engaging photographer, and I think that's the point.
Right, but do you find that the fact that we always revert to the male photographers that we know about them, were there women back in the late 1800s, early 20th century talking about
I found a few women, one from New Orleans, and her name is Perrault Collins. Her first name just slipped my mind for a second. But she lived in New Orleans. She created a studio, developed a studio in her neighborhood in the Treme section. There was also I'm working on a book for my new project of a Black photographer by the name of C.M. Batty, who set up a photography studio and school classes at Tuskegee Institute. He was hired by Booker T. Washington. And a number of women studied with him, and one was Elise Forrest Harleston, and she lived in Charleston, South Carolina. She actually was unusual. In 1921, she moved to New York to study photography, and she married her husband, who was a painter, and they created this, dynamic duo, painter-photographer studio. And then he decided that she needed to study with a black photographer. Sent her to school there in the 1920s. Her collection is part of a family collection, and it's amazing.
Right.
And then during the civil rights movement, there were women documenting during that period as
I'm
well.
going to send you to do your homework, looking up all of these. All you have to do is buy all of Deb's books. She's detailing all of this. And you also produced a documentary called Through a Lens Darkly that when I saw it was just riveting, so important, this idea of family photographs and what they tell about us. We have a clip. Let's play that, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
As a child at the age of 6, I realized that I am black, and I didn't want to be black.
Every day we're basically told you ain't it, you don't look right.
The cowards,
shiftless,
laziness,
stupid.
Seemingly never-ending barrage of negative representations wield a certain kind of political force, even though they are fictions.
How is the photograph used in the battle between two legacies, self-affirmation and negation. Our salvation as a people, as a culture, depends on salving the wounds of this war. A war of images within the American Family Album.
Yeah, really something. And you did that with Thomas Allen Harris.
Yes.
Yeah, tell us.
Yeah, it was
based on your book, Reflections
in Black. A number of people. The exhibition opened at the Smithsonian when we were developing the museum in 2000, and it was really an important moment for me because I traveled for 4 years around the country, and people said to me, "Oh, I didn't know we looked like that." And that was the
what does that mean? I didn't know we looked like that.
We had such pride that we dressed a certain way because of Europeans said that I don't know Black history as they, Europeans who visited the Smithsonian, and said that we didn't know
this Black history.
Right. All we know are Black people as brutal bodies, of lynched bodies. We didn't know that there was a community that, and that stayed with me because I kept those pages out of the comment book, and it meant a lot to me. But then others said, "Can this travel? Can it travel throughout the country longer?" And of course, we could not extend the photographs. So I contacted Thomas Allen Harris and asked if he'd like to work with me on creating a documentary on this project. And it took us 10 years.
10 years.
10 years. Many of the photographers were willing. Families were fascinated, interested. And then we just combined our ideas about how to tell the story in different ways. And it was a great moment.
Yeah, and I left the theater, as I said, struck by this notion of you can tell the history of a family by looking at the photographs and who's in and who's out and where they're positioned in this, and that for instance, in some of the families, the gay children were somehow mysteriously missing from the photographs. Talk a little bit about.
And it's fascinating within Thomas's section where he actually uses the family album, and Glenn Ligon writes, "You see who's out of the family album." But that didn't happen in my family. People they were part of the story. So I think that a number of families decided to keep secrets within that aspect of storytelling with gay life and difference. So the range. So it's fascinating to see how people actually use that as a silencing of family histories. And creating a story or retelling a story about gay life in Black families.
Right, right. I was just remarking to my daughter, who had made some of these wonderful pictures of her children. They were at the White House for the Easter egg roll, and I said, "Wouldn't it be great to have a scrapbook?" I said, "Do you remember the days when people actually had paper pictures?"
Right.
I mean, how has that changed photography for you as a documentarian?
Right. I am excited the fact that new media has transformed people to as an artist as well as family albums, because people are excited about their children. I have a grandniece. I have photographs of her from the day she was born till today, and
I
she's
bet
2
you
years
do.
old. And her father sends photographs every day.
Every day?
Every day.
Oh my gosh!
And
as an email, I mean, as a
it's
digital,
a
digitally.
digital file.
So that's helped.
That's yeah.
But
and,
so-
and it's in my phone. And sometimes I feel when I'm tired, I look at this baby
Right.
Ravi and I smile. So it's kind of carrying the family album with me every day. And so that's that exchange.
Yeah, so it's helped in the accessibility of it, but what about the permanence of it?
Permanence, and we have no idea. And I noticed that a number of us had CDs, family photographs on CDs. We don't have CDs anymore in our computers.
Right.
So what I'm suggesting that we try to print out as much as possible.
Really? So you are suggesting that we print.
Yeah.
Now, I've accessed some of your shows online, and that's terrific, where if you cannot be present where one of your curated shows is opening and showing, you can go through and see like some of the portraits that you've done. So, and I think the New York Times has just recently opened up its whole,
It's fascinating collection.
series of Black photographs. Talk a little bit about that. Have you seen any of what's in there?
Yeah, there's just a few that I'm excited about. There are communities that have been ignored as an everyday story. And see, Don Hogan Charles was one photographer that we know only from daily images in the New York Times, but to see the range of the images that he photographed and Chester Higgins photographed during that time period, it's exciting to see this legacy opening up. And we now begin to see a broader story about Black people and Black lives here in America. And it creates a sense of community pride. We know, in terms of the quote where people said, "I didn't know we looked like that," there are young people who have no idea of the pride that happens within our communities, and a sense of pride that we need to be reminded of. And that's something that I'm seeing that's happening more and more as a result of opening up the photographic archive.
Right. And now I know that Brian Stevenson is working on a photographic project as well. He, writes about so powerfully about mass incarceration and lynching. And he has a photographer who used to work for the New York Times who's going back and documenting those sites where people were lynched, which, is, I know you're talking about the positive side, but we also, I think, need to go back and document for ourselves the negative side of our history.
Right. I know it. I rarely say positive, negative. I always say representative. And I'm always looking for joy in the images. And then there's also tragedy that we cannot ignore, and to ignore the experiences of what Stevenson's project is so important, because we think of the Innocence Project.
Right.
We think about men whose lives were changed as a result of being incarcerated, documenting those photographs. And I spent some time with photographers in New Orleans and wrote an essay about men in Angola and the lives that they created. There's two photographers, Chandra McCormick and Keith Calhoun, documenting in that area. So the images, when I gave a talk in Poland a couple of years ago, and it showed a representative history of struggle from slavery, Civil War to today. And at the end of my talk, someone asked, "Oh, well, where are the lynching images?" And I said,
Interesting.
"That's the only." He said that's the only way we know Black America is through lynching and hip hop. And so the brutalized body. And so they asked, why didn't I show lynching? And I, of course, I was surprised that can we look at what happened through America? Yes, this was an experience. I talked about Emmett Till, but they actually wanted to see the images of lynching.
Yeah,
And
you
it's
have
because of that
and you've stressed particularly beauty as well. But I do want to, because we have this magnificent picture of you and your son. Your son. There's so many names there. Hank Willis Thomas, right? Okay.
Yes.
This is amazing because he's a conceptual artist and you do things together. But if you look at this, fantastic. So Hank is on the left. In the middle is Hank and Deb.
He morphed our face one night. We were in an exhibition called Progeny.
Right.
And we were trying to work together, and he took a photograph of me, and I'm like, and he said, just stay there and stand there and don't smile. And I was amazed at how much we look alike.
I know. It's really, it's such a striking. At first I didn't get it. I'd go and say, who's the third person?
Right.
But, so that photographic gene has traveled down, to the next generation as well. One of the things we always ask our guests as we begin to close is to think about Black America, and your life and documenting so much of it is just extraordinary. I can't thank you enough for that. But the sentence that I want you to finish is the strength, the power of Black America lies in
our young people and in education. And that's something that I'm experiencing in the classroom daily. And I enjoy teaching based on the fact that we need to remind young people that they are our future.
that they're our future, but they have to keep records of the past and print it out.
Yes, print it out, yes.
That old paper, we have to ask how long the paper's going to last too. And we have to ask how long anything is. I'm getting into my esoteric with this whole idea. Deb Willis, thank you so much for being with us today, and so excited about your next books.
Great.
Well, I'm going to count them for you one day. I'm going to come over there and say, Deb, you actually have 57 books to your credit.
Okay, we'll do it together.
Okay, terrific.
Thank you.
That is Dr. Deborah Willis, and thank you so much for being with us today. She's the chair of the photography department at NYU. And thanks to you for joining us. I'm Carol Jenkins. The program is Black America, and we will see you the next time. Thank you.